Hey guys, this is John, your host on Mgtow is Freedom. As the title suggests, great expectations. I think men enter into everything we do with that in mind, the greatest of expectations. Except for those who are incurably pessimistic, men approach the day as I suggest we should. We look in the mirror and we say, hey, you're the guy that's going to do this. We accept responsibility and we say, if it works, we get credit. If it fails, it's our fault. So we naturally have positive expectations, great expectations. Thank you guys, by the way, for the scotch and stogies. You that have the wherewithal to donate, it's much appreciated. Oh, the Balvenie tonight, very good. So great expectations. You know, we approach everything we do with the object being success. And that includes not just business, but relationships. We as men have great expectations for ourselves, right? We know what we're capable of. We know who we are. We have a vision for where we want to go. We have great expectations. And we are taught, indoctrinated, coerced into believing we need to have a woman with us as we ride through this adventure called life, this journey, this expedition, right? And so when we include a woman in that idea, we develop an expectation, a belief system that we're going to conquer everything and share it with this woman. And she's going to be part of that great experience. I think this is where we've gone wrong as men. And I don't think we did it individually. I do blame, in this case, the system, the indoctrination system. It, like so many things in the gynocracy, in feminism, it takes advantage of us as men, of our natural, positive, moral instinct of creating and building and succeeding. Our great expectations for ourselves is taken advantage of. It's used against us. So what we need to do as men, especially us older guys with more experience, especially all those negative experiences, we need to teach young men, don't get your fucking hopes up, right? Be realistic about the things within your control. Have great expectations for yourself, in business. But if the economy's bad, don't blame yourself. Have great expectations for yourself physically, right? Go to the gym, work out, know how much stronger you are because you did a great job, or how much faster you are, or how much further you can ride a bike or row a fucking canoe, right? But only measure against yourself and develop those expectations. Don't compare yourself to the world's greatest and go, man, I ain't good enough. See, and I don't think most men would do that, would put themselves in a position where their expectations are shattered on the rocks. Right? But we do as men have great expectations, and sometimes those expectations exceed our grasp with regard to business, with regard to our strength, with regard to our own intellect even. Right? We can't all be the smartest, nor the strongest, nor the most successful financially, but we can all expect greatness from ourselves, and I think that as men we do. And this is where our nose gets put to the grindstone by women. See, they hold themselves out there as the prize. And we expect of ourselves as men to accomplish, to earn, right? To live up to that. The indoctrination, the education process tells us as men, right, that we need to have a woman involved. And then it allows our natural desire, our natural drive to push us to push us to want a woman, to push us to succeed. And the more obstinate she is, you know, we become more of a sucker. It's a sucker play, right? So you try harder, you give more, and they push until they meet resistance, and they back off, and then they push some more. And just as you're able to row that canoe faster, or run faster, or lift more, become smarter, you become, as a man, more adept at trying to please her. Your expectations for yourself to succeed, to figure it out, as a man, exceed, right, the capability of women to be that good, to be worthy of us, to be worthy of the love we have, to be worthy of the effort, the time, the care, the financial, the physical resources. But we have to accept responsibility for ourselves. Something Mgtow pushes. Responsibility. We have to understand that we are, as a creature, prone to having great expectations of ourselves and our lives, because this is the only life we have. You live it once, and then whatever happens afterwards. Right? Some people believe you go to heaven. Other people believe you get reincarnated. You come back and do it again, but not as the same self. This particular John, they broke the fucking mold on. He only comes around once. Unless you're to look at my sons and go, whoops, yeah, they didn't break the mold. Anyways, we have great expectations. And unless we are properly instructed as men, properly educated as men, that can, as I said, become a weaponized tool that women can use against us. And I don't think men understand it. That we're responsible for ourselves, but we also do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves, and women count on that. The term man up was a direct offensive volley sent against men so that we live up to their expectations, which reflects our expectations for ourselves. When someone says, a woman says, hey, man up to you, right? You're like, hey, I'm going to be a man, I'll show you, right? Because you have expectations of yourself, not only for you, right, to consider yourself a man, but for others around you to not only see it, but recognize it. Part of the lesson there is don't give a fuck what other people think and want. Don't try and live up to their expectations, but yours alone. But even your own expectations of greatness, of goodness, are used against you. And that is how they do it. Now, some might call that ego. Your ego got the better of you, so, that bitch fooled you. Whatever you want to attribute it, right? It's all things masculine that are used against us. That is, our own qualities, our own virtues are used against us. They're weaponized against us. But a soft spot all men have is ego. It is ego and our great expectations of self. Who is the man, right, who builds the city that doesn't have an ego? There is no man that builds a city who doesn't have an ego. You have to have ego, and a big motherfucking ego at that, to build a city, right? So to say to a man, your ego's getting in the way, is to say, hey, your cock is getting in your way, right? Your penis is in your way. Your brains are in your way. Your muscles are in your way. Your drive, the thing that drives you as a man, is in your way. It makes no sense to say, put your ego aside, but man up. It doesn't make any sense. But that again is another trick they use to confuse you, to pit you against you. As Mgtow men going our own way, what we need to do is think about our great expectations. Understand our personal limitations, right? With regard to intelligence or physical capability or our age. Understand it, but don't become victimized by it. Don't let it be weaponized against you. It strikes me every time I see it. Right? A man puffs his chest out and says, "I can do that." And he does it, and he does it for himself. And to see the sense of satisfaction of self, the sense of accomplishment, the sense of power that a man can feel within himself because of the deeds he's accomplished and the intellectual feats and skills. We all have it as humans. But for men, it is different than for women. It's different completely. Okay? Our expectation of ourselves, it requires us to have ego and drive. But it's a like fire. It's an awesome power, right? But we should be fearful if it becomes our master. When your great expectations master you, right? That is, they drive you to run faster than your intellect sees what's going on. That is where women have succeeded. They've succeeded in pushing us that way, both through indoctrination and through individual effort or manipulation on the part of the woman. And it is through no fault of their own that they do it. Woman is looking for the best man to mate with, the best man to live with. That's what they want. They're driven to that. But they have an unhealthy appetite, right? They'll push a man past his ability and destroy him. Right? They'll tell him, you need to live up to my expectations, she says, and then drives him until he can't work anymore or until she finds someone else to give her more of what she wants. Our expectations as men are amazing. Look at the world in which we live. Right? The understanding of nature, of the rules called physics, right? Science. It all makes sense when you look at it, how we've industrially used it or harnessed the laws of nature. It's not a small matter. It's not a small feat. Right? Look at how it's improved our standard of living. That wasn't done because two men were sitting there chiding each other saying, "Hey, man up." And the other one says, "No, you man up." And the other one says, No, you man up." Right? Those men have created the world we live in, all the good things, because they had great expectations for themselves and they expected greatness of other men. But it's women that have harmed us, that have taken advantage of that. And as Mgtow, you have a chance in your life, whether you're old like me or somewhere in your 30s or your 20s or even your teens. Men need to be taught. Have great expectations for yourself, for your life. Who knows what you'll accomplish? You could cure cancer, right? You could do any number of things medically, scientifically, militarily. Who knows? There's no end to what men can do. But you can fuck yourself up, though, if you believe that what you can do is control a woman in today's political, social, legal, and personal environment. A guy could say, "Oh yeah, I whipped her into shape and I straightened her up and I keep her on her toes," and a number of things, right? I can backhand her anytime I want. That's not the question that's being asked here, but it's your expectation for your life. If you believe that you can turn that woman that you can badger or beat down or trick into being a decent human being, you're absolutely wrong. People are born what they are, and women are born manipulators. Period. That's what they do.